Hey there YouTube, welcome back to our channel. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you already know that we had our baby, yay! Yes, this video is going to be our labor and delivery story. Just want to say, might be TMI, maybe. So if you get grossed out really easily, then maybe this video is not for you. But I honestly don't think it's that gross of a story, so here we go. Let's start at 38 weeks. At 38 weeks, Will and I were hanging out at a cafe, and then all of a sudden I felt this little leak. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if my water broke because I know that I didn't pee on myself. So I went to the bathroom and I checked, and it was clear liquid and it was odorless. And I was like, oh, whoa, maybe my water is leaking, you know? So I called the labor and delivery department, and the doctor told me to come in. So we did. We drove all the way to the hospital, and they stuck this little pH stick up my vagina, and they were like, oh, nope, it wasn't your water, just vaginal discharge. And I was like, vaginal discharge? It was so like watery and clear and odorless, but they were like, yeah, you know, vaginal discharge. So we went home, and I was bummed because it was a false alarm. So like a week later, I started having contractions, and these contractions, they started off feeling like period cramps, like mild period cramps. Then they started feeling like really painful period cramps. Like, they were bad. So I was in a lot of pain, a lot of pain. Don't mind my pajamas. I was in a lot of pain. So we went to the hospital, and they hooked me up to this machine, and it was really cool because they could see the contractions on the machine. They were listening to the baby's heartbeat and everything. And when all the doctors were gone, Will asked me on a scale of 1 to 10, how painful was it? And I was like, a 6. I thought it was a 6. So then a doctor came back and was like, oh, well, you're 0 centimeters dilated and 0% effaced, so, you know, go home, basically. The doctor said to come back when the pain is a 6 out of 10. So Will and I looked at each other like, okay, well, I thought it was a 6 out of 10, I guess not. The doctor was like, 10 is like I took a hammer to your kneecaps, and 6 is when you just want to punch your husband in the face. So we went home, and the next day, I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning because these contractions were really bad and I couldn't sleep. And by 4 or 5, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. They're so bad. But I didn't want to go to the hospital again because I didn't want to get turned back again. You know, I don't feel like punching Will in the face. So is it really that bad? Eventually, we were like, we should go to the hospital because this is really painful. And if anything, they could probably help us with some pain management. We got ready, get in the car, go to the hospital, and they check, and then the doctor's like, oh my gosh, you're 4 centimeters. No, 5 centimeters and 100% effaced. And I was like, yay! Oh my gosh, thank God. She was like, you know what this means? We can admit you now. And I was like, thank God. Okay. During the pregnancy, my goal was to try to do it without any pain medication, but you know, I was still like 80% sure I was gonna need an epidural. When we went to the hospital and I had these contractions, I was like, I need something right now. Black women are 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy and childbirth than white women are. And one of the reasons is because the hospital and the staff and the doctors and nurses just don't listen to Black women when they're in pain. You know, you could be sitting there like screaming in pain, and they're like, we'll get to you. And that's how these women die, because maybe they're screaming in pain because they're hemorrhaging, or you know, something crazy is happening with the baby, but the nurses, staff, and doctors don't care about them. In California, we're a lot better. We have a super low maternal death rate, but Black women are still way more likely to die. The hospital we were at was Kaiser, and one of the nurses asked if I had any concerns, and I said, well, yeah, I don't want to die, you know, from some stupid preventable complication because I'm Black. She said she understood that's a reality, but at Kaiser, that's not the truth. At least at the Kaiser we gave birth in, I don't know, she made it seem like nobody ever dies at Kaiser and that there's no racial disparity when it comes to maternal death rates. So we were a little bit more calm. When the doctor suggested morphine and said it could make you loopy, Will got really concerned because he was like, well, they already don't listen to black women, so now imagine if you're loopy and you can't really express what's going on in your body, they're really not going to listen to you. But, you know, our fears are calmed. They said that you'll get loopy in the sense of you'll get sleepy, but you'll still have your cognitive function. So I took the morphine, and boy, that was good. That was some good morphine. So after they put in the morphine IV, they wheeled me over to my L&D room, which was great. It was a really big room, and I loved it. It was so comfortable. What is up? So, I'm currently in the delivery room. Will and Brian are here, but they went to go get food. So I'm just gonna vlog a little bit. Yeah, so this is my IV monitor. That's really gonna keep our little boy when he first comes out. That's a little closet over there. Sink and stuff. And then there's a bathroom in there with a shower and everything. It's really nice. Got a rocking chair, regular chair, a pull-out bed chair. This is my view. Yep, that's it. Oh, here's a television. My mom's here.
Hello, everybody. I'm about to be a grandma. I can't wait.
Yay!
Thank you, Jesus.
Amen. So the doctor just came in and checked, and I'm at 9 centimeters. Yay, out of 10. So they're like, yeah, the baby's definitely coming today. So I'm gonna be resting, probably napping, and they're gonna come and check again. And when I get to 10 centimeters, I'm gonna start pushing. If I look like I'm kind of high, I'm not. It's because it's the morphine, and it's really doing its job because these contractions were so painful. And also, I'm really tired because I didn't sleep at all last night. So I can get my sleep now, and the contractions, I can still feel them, but they're not nearly as bad, so I can sleep through them. And I got to sleep. Well, they were like, in order to save your energy to push, you need to just take a nap. And I didn't take a nap, I slept. I slept like the whole day, and I was very happy. I was very happy sleeping. The same nurse who told me about the, who told me not to worry about the maternal mortality rate at Kaiser, she said that she recommends getting the epidural put in early before it's too painful for me to stay still. So we got everything set up, but they didn't actually put in the medicine. They just had it all set up for whenever I would need it. The epidural is all set up in the back, and for whenever I decide that I want to get an epidural, I'm probably just gonna keep taking morphine until I feel like it's time for an epidural. So maybe another hour or something, I'll get another dose of morphine, and then after that, get the epidural. I'm probably gonna go back to sleep until they come back and check me again, and I'm at 10 centimeters. All right, see you later. So when I woke up from the morphine, I asked for another dose of morphine because I didn't want the epidural yet. When they gave me the morphine, they only gave me half because they give you half IV and then half IM. So they gave me the IV morphine, but they didn't give me the IM morphine. So when I woke up and the morphine started wearing off, they gave me the morphine injection. So I was good again until that started wearing off. So that's when I asked for the epidural medication. The anesthesiologist came in and explained everything to me, and she set me up, and they started giving me medication, and it was great. I had what the internet would call a walking epidural because I could feel my legs, I could move around, I could walk if I wanted to, but they told me not to. They put in a catheter in me, and they were like, we don't want you walking and wobbling and falling. But I could flail my legs around and everything. I just couldn't feel the contractions anymore. It was great. Like, I had no idea I was having contractions. I looked at the monitor and I would see that I was having contractions, but did not feel it at all. It was beautiful. It was so much better than the morphine, because the morphine, I felt it, like I felt the contractions, but they were really dull. But with the epidural, I felt nothing. I'm really excited. I have an epidural, so I don't feel anything, and I am so happy about that, thank God, because I've been having contractions every like 2 minutes, and let me tell you, in the morning when I was having contractions every 5 to 8 minutes, that was horrible. I was like, I can't go through this. So I can't imagine doing this every 2 minutes. So I asked for some water, and they were like, oh, you can't drink water because you'll throw up. And I was like, psh, no, I'm not. Give me some water. So they gave me some water, and I immediately threw up. So they gave me ice chips, and I was able to eat ice chips without throwing up. The doctor came in and was like, people generally push for 1 to 4 hours, and because you're a first-time mom, you know, you can expect it to be up to 3 hours. Just letting you know that ahead of time, so you're not like, why am I still pushing after a couple hours? Eventually, they come and check, and they're like, okay, 9 centimeters. When I get to 10 centimeters, I'm going to start pushing with one nurse, and then once the nurse could see his head, then she would call in the whole team. I couldn't feel any contractions, but then all of a sudden, every whatever amount of minutes, I felt like this really intense urge to poop. And I looked at the monitor, and that was when I was having my contractions. So every time it would be like super intense urge to poop. And I was like, oh, I think the baby's coming. So she checked, and she was like, yep, you're 10 centimeters. Let's start pushing. I don't know how to describe it, because it's not like it was painful because I had the epidural, but it was very intense. It was just as intense as pain, which makes me think I would not be able to handle this without an epidural, because if I had that physical feeling plus the pain, oh, I don't think I could do it. It's 7:40. We're gonna start pushing at 8 o'clock, because every time I have a contraction, I feel like I need to poop. So it's about time. So I start pushing. Will was right next to me, just telling me to breathe and supporting me, and he was perfect. He was just doing his job perfectly. We didn't even go to a Lamaze class or anything. He was just doing his job so perfectly, and I'm so grateful he was there, because he was really getting me through the contractions and the pushing and everything. Eventually the nurse called in the doctor and the whole staff, and then all of a sudden the room was filled with people. It was doctors and nurses and everybody, right? And I was pushing. Ooh, man, pushing is painful. You know, there was a part where his head, like the biggest part of his head, was just stuck in the hole, like, of my vagina. So my vagina was just stretched like this, because he got here, he got to this point during the push, and then I was just stuck like this until the next push, and that was my incentive really to get him out of there, because I was like, I cannot have the biggest part of his head just stuck where my vagina is. So then I did the last push, and he came out, and whew, I was so relieved. And turns out I was only pushing for 1 hour and 3 minutes. But when he first came out, I was really scared, because he wasn't crying. He was like moving around and doing everything else that babies do, like with his, you know the stuff that babies do when they come out and they're like this. Woo. But he wasn't crying, so that made me really nervous. But he was nice and pink and well perfused and everything. He was just so beautiful. He's such a beautiful little boy. I love him. He's amazing. He didn't cry for the first like 4 days of life, like at all.
All right, buddy, let's do this.
Well, how do you take this in?
Oh, you have to lift it up from here.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah. Here we go.
Very creative.
Yeah, it is creative, but it's not very functional. So is this your first of the day?
Yeah, we're just starting our shift.
Lovely.
The placenta came out.
Oh my
Here it
gosh,
is.
she's so beautiful.
You want to get told to.
Honey, can you film me?
Can I film? Can I film? Yeah, I'll film him. Kalu. Hey, buddy. Hi. Hi. Hey, buddy. Hi. Hey, come on. Come on. Wow, it's kind of warm. Hi. Oh, filming. Yes. Sorry. Now I'm filming you. Hey, Kalu, this is your first video. Look at your big heartbeats. There it is. Oh, look at those monster abs. Good job. Look at you. You're so cute.
Monster abs.
Monster abs. Oh, look at the little face. And there's mommy over there. There's mommy and grandma. Hi. Come on, Kalu. Give me a big cry.
Let me check the trash.
Good job, Kalu.
Afterwards, they moved us to the postpartum room, which wasn't as nice, you know. In our L&D room, I had a pretty good view that I liked. Postpartum room, my view was the Scientology building. Just a big blue Scientology building took up the entire window. Also, it was a lot smaller, but I couldn't complain because I was so happy that he came out. I was so happy to see him and finally meet him after this kid has been inside me kicking my ribs and moving around and stuff. I finally get to see who it is. I wanted to eat right after giving birth and I didn't want the place to be closed, so Will ran to the Thai food place nearby and got me some food. So I'm just like the whole time looking forward to that. Thanks. Oh. Time for dinner. My first meal of the day. So technically it's my breakfast.
This one.
Bye. Color.
This here you go, honey. Put this over here.
Thanks. You are so cute. Oh my gosh. You are the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. And you make the cutest little sounds. Oh, look at that yawn. Stayed there for 2 nights and the nurses were just incredible. They were so amazing. They were like waiting on us hand and foot. It was great. You know, just call a nurse and they come in all preppy like, hey, how can I help you? You know, they helped with everything. The next day we got this complimentary breakfast. I obviously got my French toast. That's what I got, and you know, it came with fruit and all the stuff on the side. It was a really good breakfast. It was like I don't know, like a restaurant and everything. We both got it. So after that breakfast they gave us, some lady was walking around with a camera and she's from this company called, I don't know, Mom something, and they go around the postpartum floor and take pictures of the brand new baby. So she got to our place and took a bunch of pictures and take pictures. Hey, cutie. What? I love that he doesn't cry. Let's see how long he keeps this up.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I've seen his tongue.
He's very strong.
So adorable.
Oh.
It's UCLA.
We bought them right then and there because if we had waited to buy them online, it would have cost like $20 more. She made us a little slideshow and everything. It was really cool. We got super lucky with the pictures. I know a lot of people have been asking me like, oh, you guys hired a professional photographer for the day and everything. And we were like, no. Honestly, it was just going to be straight iPhone pics, but this lady showed up and we were like, sure. I was just so relieved after everything, being able to give birth, being waited on hand to foot, having this beautiful baby and super supportive husband who was just a wonderful father and just a wonderful person. It all turned out to be so great, and I thank God for that. Peaceful sleeper. We're gonna have to wake him up and get him on my lap. Cuties. So we left the hospital and we're close to home now.
Totally excited. My little son's coming home. Look at him. What a
Look at
champ.
him.
We're gonna go home. Miss Yahweh's there. She's cooking some cleansing African food for Isa. I'll have some, see if I can tolerate it.
If you
gonna be-
could
it's gonna be
tolerate
great.
the spicy.
Yeah, maybe. And then if not, I'll just go back to my chicken and salsa. You know? And then we're gonna see what it's like with Bobby, right? We gotta get him.
Oh
that
yeah,
blanket.
we have to. You mean her?
Kalu makes these little like
The
noises.
same noises.
Like Bobby, I'm like, oh Bobby. I'm like, no, Kalu. Not Bobby. You're not Bobby. You're Kalu. So we're gonna see how that goes.
Because they're both pretty quiet. They
They
both
are.
make noises but don't cry. Like Bobby doesn't really bark.
So it takes a lot.
It takes a lot for her to bark, and it takes a lot for him to cry. So they make the same little coos like that. Yeah, we're excited to do this.
We got plenty of diapers. Isa's taking 6 weeks off,
Well, yeah.
so we're gonna be a full-time mom and dad for a little bit.
Yeah, you have to
together.
be a full-time mom for 6 weeks. We brought in KALU'S blanket, and he gave it to Bobby so she could smell it. But she wasn't at all interested in the blanket. She was just more excited that we came home. And then Will brought Kalu through the door for the first time, and it was wonderful.
How did this little guy get here?
Oh,
Where'd you come from? Gotta open up the gate, take your time, there's no rush. Hey Kalu, this is your new home. The hospital was, you know, your temporary home, but this is your real home with your real mom and dad. Watch out for the ledge.
Thanks.
Nice and easy. And then that's little Bobby. She's like, what is in your hands?
Hey, Bobby.
Bobby, hi. Now we're gonna enter the home.
Oh, I forgot to say, my mom was here. She was a great help. It's funny, when I went into labor, I texted her, and this was right when she got to work, because it was early in the morning. And I texted her, and as soon as she got to work, she saw the text, and she was like, well, sorry guys, taking the day. She explained to them what happened, and she went straight home to get her stuff, and straight to LA to support me. She was actually there in the delivery room with me, and that was wonderful too. When we got discharged, we went home, and she was cooking already. It was great. Came in to a beautiful Nigerian food smelling home.
Now we're walking in. Ah, nice, sweet Nigerian food in the air.
Yes, my mom is cooking.
The beautiful, beautiful grandma, Missy Yahweh.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for cooking for
Yeah.
us.
Anytime.
Pepper soup.
Bassinet number 2,
Well,
upstairs.
Yeah.
Also known as the crib, not the bassinet. So I'm just gonna set you down and let you get used to everything. Oh, don't you
Uh-oh, he wants to be held. It's okay, I'll hold him. I'll skin to skin. I'll take it for the team.
I think you want to. Oh! Ow! I didn't want to. Oh,
Bobby, hi. Come here. Hi. You were so
Can you go for a
cute.
walk?
You were so cute.
Go walk.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, jeez.
Somebody needs to use the bathroom.
Oh yeah, go.
Oh my gosh, were those farts? Wow, you're gonna need a diaper change.